Welcome back to more White Album 2. We are playing through the closing chapter. So again, it is still Christmas Eve. We're at the end of the date between Setsuna and Haruki. We somehow managed to get to a hotel together. And both of them are very, very hesitant. In fact, Haruki is now crying in the shower. It's awful. The whole situation is awful. They need to stop forcing themselves, but they're not going to. I'm worried. I'm super worried about how this is going to turn out. Now even Setsuna's reading the book about Toma. Just, oof. It should be noted that during these 3 years of Toma Kazusa's education, she has never been incredibly ill and was the very epitome of good health.
Haruki-kun らしい嫌味だよね。
Hojo High School, second music room. There are 3 music rooms in Hojo High. The first music room is used exclusively by students in the regular program. The third music room is used exclusively by the students in the music program. The second music room was mainly used as a spare classroom. However, during Toma Kazusa's 3 years at the school, she utilized it as her exclusive practice room.
留年するぞお前ら。私なんかに付き合ってると。
何言ってんだ。逆だ。お前が卒業するんだよ。俺たちと付き合ってるばっかりに。
学園祭が終わったらマンツーツーだからね。私英語だけは春樹くんより成績いいな。
どうせ俺たち推薦も卒業もほとんど確定だし、追試の追試の追試まで付き合ってやるからな。
バカじゃないのか。
ここにはトーマよりバカはいません。
ひどいよ春樹くん。カズさんのことになると悪口ばっかり。
The stage during the Hojo High School School Festival. Due to the discord between her and Yoko, Kazusa spent many days separated from the piano, but could not completely remove herself from music as a whole. Atop this stage, her performance was not limited to only the keyboard, but extended to the sax and bass as well. For the first time in several years, she was met with an applause from her audience.
俺のギターを初めて真面目に聴いてくれたやつだから。
When Kazusa had first arrived at the school, due to the tension from the multitude of conflicts between her and her classmates and teachers, it only took a few days for her to be completely singled out and isolated. However, her high aspirations that could not allow for compromises in the lectured material, practice schedule, and the level of her performance was also an important deciding factor. Toma Kazusa had inherited not only the incredible talent, but also the troublesome attitude of her mother, Toma Yoko, as well.
あいつ性格は悪いんだけど、悪に徹しきれないお人よしな部分が面白いんだと。評判とか噂とかそんなのが何だってんだよ。トーマってさ、根は優しいやつなんだよ、本当に。そう、みんなに分かってもらえないの。
The isolated and overly emotional Kazusa followed in the footsteps of the wild and equally emotional Yoko, and chose not to restrict herself to Japan's musical world. But it's because of this that she was able to meet Yoko's former mentor, Martin Flugel, who helped her talents bloom so beautifully.
俺たちにできることはさ、あいつの決断を尊重することくらいしかないよ。だから俺はあいつが望んだ通り笑って送り出す。
Oh no. Currently, she's living in a detached house in the suburbs of Vienna. along with her teacher, rival, and mother with whom she'd once cut all ties with, Toma Yoko. What footsteps will this budding talent leave behind in the world? You'll find the answers to that in the future endeavors of Toma Kazusa. And at the end, an impudent postscript. Be it Kazusa herself, or the people watching over her journey from now on, they should all offer their gratitude to a certain person. No matter how much Toma Kazusa herself might deny this, if it was not for Toma Yoko, she would not be who she is now. Both as an artist and as a person in general. Oh no, poor Setsuna. Because he doesn't mention himself or Setsuna as one of the people that influenced and helped her, so I don't know, it's just like he erased them from her past as well. It's really, really sad.
Setsuna.
Opening the bathroom door, I found the room exactly as I had left it, dimly lit and dead silent. Setsuna seems to have seated herself on the bed and with her face turned away from me.
Setsuna.
As I try to get a peek of her face after slowly circling to her front, she turns away even more. Is it out of embarrassment or some other emotion? As someone who's desperately trying to hold back his own emotions, I can't seem to tell.
どうしたの？怖くなった？
She does give me a response in the form of her head shaking, but she's still not willing to look in my direction. She says she's not scared. She doesn't seem embarrassed either. Obviously it's because she's sad. But Setsuna looks visibly different from how she was 10 minutes ago.
Setsuna.
Oh. What? What? Oh my god. I'm so glad we got that. We deserve that. We had that coming for a long time. Holy cow. The hand that I reach out to her cheek in an attempt to get her to face me is slapped away almost instantly. It was so far removed from what I had expected that it felt like time stood still for a brief moment. And yet, Setsuna didn't panic and say something along the lines of, "I didn't mean that," like she always does. Which means that she did mean it.
どうして？
I've realized that Setsuna is refusing me now. Kneeling beside the bed, I take a look at Setsuna's face from below. The flushed red skin she had when she got out of the bath is gone, and replacing it is a porcelain white complexion coupled with an ice-cold expression. In contrast to the coolness of the rest of her body, her downcast eyes look heated, reddened, and alive.
Oh.
Her swollen eyes are, without a doubt, a result of that thing that was left on the side of the bed.
ごめん。しまい忘れてた。
Kazusa, in the picture, has her gaze set on both of us. Having the person we don't want looking at us the most stare at what we're about to do will no doubt disturb us a little. More than a little, I think you just ruined your chances in general, Haruki. So when her delicate hand stops me as I hurriedly try to close the magazine, an ominous premonition of impending punishment strikes my core, stopping me dead in my tracks.
本当はね。
It's been 10 minutes since I've last heard Setsuna's voice, and it now sounds so frail, so brittle. Her feelings of uncertainty were laid bare for me to see.
私、この記事もう何十回も読んだんだ。 発売日に自分で買って。
In truth, it wasn't entirely beyond the realm of possibility. It shouldn't have taken much to realize that Setsuna wouldn't miss a magazine that had Kazusa, of all people, on the cover.
特に12ページから16ページのところ、カズサの生い立ちから日本を立つまでの話。
12ページ。
That's why even the fact that she's able to pinpoint the portions I was responsible for so easily should have been within my expectations.
穴が開くほど読んだ。いつも最初は苦笑いから始まって、そのうちおかしさがこみ上げて声を出して笑って。
ひどい文章だからな。
読み終わった頃には涙が止まらなくなってた。ねえ春樹くん、もう一度答えて。
うん。
春樹くんはカズサのことを忘れたの？
忘れたよ。
Which is why the fact that she can't quite believe what I'm saying should have been obvious as well.
どうやって忘れたの？
I need to put an end to this. I should just stay silent, take her in my arms, gently pat her head, and just stay by her side until she calms down.
3年も経ったんだ。どんな思いだっていつか自然に消えてくよ。
As if trying to trick someone without using words isn't part of my communication repertoire.
そう。3年もかかった。その間、刹那に辛い思いをさせた。本当にごめん。
So I can only use every word I know until I get her to accept it from the bottom of her heart.
ごめんな、刹那。
Before I touch her body, I first have to touch her heart. What kind of cheesy line is that? Are you serious? That's awful. I have to touch her heart. Oh my god. Oh, what? Oh my god, she did it again. I messed up again. Once more, I tried to reach towards her face, and once more, my hand was pushed away with greater force this time.
何を忘れたって？何を消したって？
But even if I'm using every word I can, if those words can't reach her, trying to touch her heart is...
3年前の春樹くんと何が変わったっていうの？
刹那。
obviously impossible.
もう正直に言っちゃうね。
She's not the same as the Setsuna, who so unabashedly entrusted her body to me as we entered the hotel.
春樹くんが本当のこと話してくれないから、私切れちゃうね。
Finally facing me with her red, swollen eyes, she unhesitatingly rejects me as if she's given everything up.
私ね、この記事もう何十回も読んだんだ。読むたびに笑って泣いて、心と体の両方が痛くてたまらなくて、自分を抱きしめたまま眠れない夜を過ごしたよ。だって言ってること何も変わってないんだもん。カズサを追い続けてたあの頃の春樹くんと。
何よ、そんなことあるわけ。
I need to refute her. Because I can't just trick her with an embrace, because the only thing I'm good at is defeating others with my words.
俺、あいつを利用したんだ。売り渡したんだ。ただ受け狙いで悪口ばかり面白おかしく書き殴って。
こんなに愛がこもってるのに、カズサへの気持ちが滲み出てるのに。
But with a single sentence, she shuts me up for good.
そうだよね。春樹くんはカズサのこといつも悪く言ってた。照れくさそうに、自慢げに、まるで自分のことみたいに。最初は悪口ばかりだけど、 そのうち一生懸命かばい始めて、でも最後は余計なお説教で照れ隠し。これは、この文章はさ、あの頃の春樹くんの言葉そのままだよ。
Even though words of rebuttal are coming in mind, my mouth refuses to say them.
こんな思いを込めたラブレター見せつけられて、私どうやって納得すればいいの？
Oh no. That wasn't what I had meant to do at all. I just wanted them to use my article. Exaggerate it a little bit, and if it came out poorly, just make something up. All I wanted was to make myself look good with it. It had nothing to do with my feelings for Kazusa. I just wrote down a bunch of stuff that was well suited for a story.
嘘つき。春樹くんの嘘つき。嘘つき。嘘つき。嘘つき。嘘つき。
But how? You didn't have to go as far as to call out the lie I'd just fabricated for myself, did you? Oof. Oh man.
さっき私がお風呂から上がった時、春樹くんいたずらを見つかった子供みたいな顔してた。
That must have been because I was hurriedly trying to hide it under the bed. Oh my jeez, I'm Haruki. Oh, he drives me crazy sometimes. Hey. So indecisive.
すぐには理由がわからなかったけど、でも春樹くんが出てくるまでに分かっちゃった。
The article that she's read countless times through laughter and tears. The article that I wrote myself that still somehow manages to make my heart waver.
春樹くん、さっきカズサと話してたんだよね。
そんなことできるわけ。
There is a way.
カズサに背中を押してもらったんだよね。
あいつはいない。
But in truth, she is.
カズサのこと諦める勇気をカズサにもらったんだよね。
My message took the form of a special article dedicated to her, and I've been talking to her with it ever since.
私を抱くためにカズサに励ましてもらったんだよね。
Even now, her picture on the cover of Ensemble looks like she's making fun of me, but at the same time, unemotionally encouraging me.
ずるいよね、春樹くん。
That's why I can no longer refute Setsuna's words.
あなたは何年経っても私に嘘をつき続けるんだね。
Oh no. Because she found out everything has been a lie.
忘れられるはずのない思い出を忘れてしまったかのように嘘で塗り固めて、ずっと自分を殺して生きていくつもりだったんだね。
Because the lie that doing this was for the sake of both of us ended up actually hurting one of us.
ただ私だけのために。
Yet again, it's all my fault. This would have been fine. This would have been fine if we didn't go off and talk about how we need to forget Kazusa, and then if we didn't read that magazine when we were supposed to be getting ready to be with Setsuna. Oh my goodness. Things would have been fine. We had an opening. Nearing midnight, Christmas Eve. The snow that was piling up on the streets a while ago is now just sitting there, having piled up already. I can peek at the stars through the slits between the clouds, but in a place as lit up as this, only a few are actually visible. The lights in the nearby station are still lit up, signaling the fact that I still have a means to get home. As if warmly welcoming me after I've been miserably forced out of this place full of lovers. As I slowly make my way toward the station, I can hear the sound of the snow that's just beginning to freeze over being crushed beneath me. But aside from that, I can't hear anything else, creating an illusion of me being the only person left in the world, which I couldn't be more thankful for. After all, the snow that's piled up is willing to wipe away any other sound for me. Oh man. Hey Snow, would you let me make one more selfish request? Could you wipe away the wailing that's been resounding in my heart too? It's been getting on my nerves with how loud it's been for a while now. Oh.
私バカだ。どうしてこうなるんだろう。好きな人が自分に嘘をついてまで私に振り向いてくれて、自分の思いを殺してまで私に報いてくれて、3年越しの思いがやっと叶うって、それで十分だと思ってたのに、私の思いだけ遂げられればよかったはずなのに、どうしてこうなっちゃうんだろう。
Oh no. Oh, this is not fun. Whew.
3番線、次の電車は0時55分到着予定です。本日の最終電車となります。お乗り遅れのないようお願いします。
Thanks to the snow messing up the schedule, I made it in time for the last train of the day. But because of the snow messing up the schedule, transfers are going slowly, so I'm forced to wait at this station for 15 minutes. I rest myself on the seat that I somehow managed to obtain and stare at the floor, but can't even last a single minute before standing up again. Because if neither the scenery around me or my body itself are moving, all kinds of unnecessary thoughts will start popping up in my head. In an attempt to distract myself, I flip open my cell phone with no real purpose in mind and start randomly pushing buttons, while doing everything I can to avoid the messages button. It's not just Setsuna. I'm sure Takeya and Io must have noticed as well. That no matter how much time passes, I can't let go of my feelings for Kazusa. They've become something that's simply impossible for me to forget. And the reason that Takeya and Io, as well as other unrelated people, are still encouraging me and urging Setsuna in spite of all that, is because they failed to notice one other thing. The fact that I've never forgotten that Setsuna has been hurting Setsuna this entire time. Oh, Kazusa has been hurting Setsuna, and has continued to this very day. It's not her fault. It's literally not her fault. It's definitely our fault for what we did. Because she knows Kazusa just as well as I do. Because she loves Kazusa just as much as I do. It's because of those things that there's no way she would have overlooked Kazusa's presence inside me. Whenever she tries to dig her way into my heart, she always finds herself face to face with the memories of Kazusa that reside there. All the times I tried to force those memories out and put a smile must have only seemed like pictures drawn over glass to her. So, basically... Oh no, don't cry. Don't cry in the train station. I can no longer walk beside her again? Is that what this means? Beside one person in the world, Okiso Setsuna, her and her alone. If the other person wasn't Setsuna, I would surely be able to forget about Kazusa one day. That's the thing. Honestly, I think Haruki needs to detach himself from this whole situation and everyone involved. How, you ask? The answer's easy. I just need to bury my thoughts about Kazusa deep inside, without forgetting them, and just find a new love instead. Because if that were to happen, then the person by my side wouldn't notice how forced my smile actually is. Even if I start reminiscing the past and end up hurting because of it, she would be oblivious to the reasons and simply smile and cheer me up. So in time, she would slowly fill my heart, the pain from recalling Kazusa would dull, and eventually she would take the #1 place in my heart instead. Ignorance is bliss isn't a phrase I particularly like, but by following this phrase, time would solve everything, if it was someone other than Setsuna.
まもなく3番線に電車が到着します。黄色い線の内側までお下がりください。
Because if it was Setsuna, there's no way we can make it through the transition. If I reminisce about the past, if I end up hurting because of it, it'll just bounce between us, back and forth, hurting us more and more. And just like today, we'd come to a standstill, both of us having lost the courage to move forward. Surely Kazusa must have forgotten all about someone like me. She might have even forgotten Setsuna as well. I doubt it. And yet we're still so hung up about the three of us, sending our foolish selves down this path of self-destruction. When you only like someone, some things happen that you can't do anything about. I hate those words from the bottom of my heart. But perhaps not being together anymore would be for the... Oh my god. What? Did he just scream that in public? As if trying to match the train's rumbling noise in a chaotic harmony, I squeeze out a scream-like voice. I don't want to think about coming to any kind of conclusion about all this, so I should have just stopped thinking about it altogether, but... Setsuna's smile, Setsuna's breath, and Setsuna's face drenched in tears. Those images keep popping up in my head one after another, making my emotions wander helplessly in all sorts of directions. Oh no! In search of warmth, in search of someone. Craving for someone's touch. Oh dang. Okay, so we can't depend on Chiaki. We can't depend on Mari-san. We're just gonna have to deal with ourselves. Yeah, right. There's no way I'd be able to find anyone this late on Christmas Eve. Not to mention, just the act of looking for someone is simply unforgivable, considering how Setsuna must be going through the same thing as I am now. In the end, after missing the last train at Onjuku, I took a taxi and went straight back to my apartment. Without even turning on the lights, I dived into my bed. My body, frosted over by the touch of the snow, is slowly returning to its normal temperature. But even though my body is regaining its warmth, a single part of me, the deepest part of my chest, is still covered with frost. There still seems to be a creaking sound somewhere in there. But even so, it's still screaming out that I don't want to be alone. Aww.
心と体の両方が痛くてたまらなくて自分を抱きしめたまま眠れない夜を過ごす
Oh no. So this is how it feels. This sucks. I guess this means I won't be able to fall asleep. As if I've caught a terrible cold, every nerve in my body is pulsing with pain, and neither warming it up nor rubbing the pain away seems to ease my shivering body. Gritting my teeth so hard that I can hear them grinding, I grasp my trembling body with both hands, but find myself unable to close my eyes. Because if I submerge myself in true darkness, it will come back to me again. The sight of Setsuna's face drenched in tears that I saw at the very last moment will always come back to haunt me. More than 2 weeks from now on. I don't have any classes, nor am I scheduled for any work, thus the free time that I hated so much is now ruthlessly rushing towards me. How am I supposed to spend my free time from tomorrow on? Should I fill this loneliness, or should I just accept it? Oh no, this is so sad. Alright, we're gonna stay by ourselves. I'm not alone. Setsuna should be going through a sleepless night right now as well. It's my fault, and it's Setsuna's fault. The two of us are being devoured by a vicious feeling of loneliness. We sure are a good match. Oh no, this is so sad. I hate this. This is awful. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not even looking forward to playing the next part because I just know it's gonna make me really sad. So, I will though. So thanks so much for joining me today on this chapter. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, take care.